Yeah.
Well, it's gonna start costing 500.
I can date yourself, like most people call this Jim Daly, the Daly building over here. I call it two-way stretch. That was a suspender factory.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
During the war, they made parachutes.
Huh. Talking about the building that was the Board of Education building?
Yeah, Jim Daly's office.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I boarded that was in there quite a while.
So they ran short of money and had to sell it.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Lenawee County Land Bank Authority for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. I have an approval for the agenda for today's meeting.
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the approval of the minutes from Tuesday, February 25th. As you know, we did not have a March meeting this year.
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to the finance reports. You will have 2 months worth. In February, we did not have any activity, but I did want to present those so you could see that. So I'll direct your attention to the March income statement. We do have a few items to discuss. At the top under the revenue, there is $25. That is our application fee for 834 Michigan Avenue. That is further down the agenda. I wanted to mention that. Under expenses, we had $400 for legal fees regarding the quiet title on the 2 properties on Lenawee Avenue that we just took in this year. The $60 below that is the recording fees associated with quiet title for those properties. And the property taxes for 534.44 are the curb and gutter assessments on those 2 properties that we had to pay. That leaves our cash balance at the end of March at $250,267.07. If you have any questions, I can try to answer those.
I move to approve both February and March financials.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, under new business, as I mentioned in the financial discussion, we did receive an application for 834 Michigan Avenue. We will be holding a sales committee meeting to further discuss to bring that back to you before next month's meeting. Under existing business, the blight elimination grant, the only update I have is we're still currently working on the contract for the construction management. Krieghoff and Land Bank are in agreement, but we have other things associated with the federal funding that we need to make sure everything is perfect for them. They are helping us review that, so we're still working on that at this time. The application status for 949 Howell Avenue, we did close on that with Habitat for Humanity, so that is complete. Does anybody have any questions on the new business or existing business? All right, moving on to Community Development Coordinator comments. Francine has a lot of information to share with us today, so I'll turn that over to her.
Good morning. I would like to share some updates since we met. It's been 2 months since we've met. The Region K housing update that was on March 17th. I included a PowerPoint that was completed by myself. We're not going to go over that today, but I just put for an FYI of what was presented. And we will also be doing that Region K all-day event will be done in another location. Being on the education committee, we're trying to determine a location that's best for everyone who didn't attend. I believe there were 64 participants that attended. The next item is the Land Bank East Regional Meeting that was held in Detroit. We were asked to put on a presentation of a smaller land bank of the efforts that we've done in the last couple of years. There were small, medium, and large. It was an excellent conversation. Mishta was also there presenting about their housing strategic plan. and was asked to talk about that because we received one of the community amenities grant for the parks. It was a great conversation of what is happening all over the state, not only just in our region. There were some people there who are creating a land bank. So we, Lenawee County has been sought after of the last 2 years of our efforts of how do they compile that instead of doing it from scratch and creating their own policies and procedures. As we borrowed other people's and kind of created them, and the board voted on to change some language, that's what they want to do as well. So that was very exciting. The next thing on the agenda is connections to build. With attending a lot of the summits and meetings is really being, developing different ideas and how that connection is to build with people. As some of you may be aware of, we also have an RFP for the opioid settlements. And I've met with 2 different people who came in to talk about their programs and where it would fit in. And talking about land, the land bank has been brought into that and to see how they can integrate. With building connections, I've talked to several different people on how we can connect and with the properties that we have to build something that's sustainable in the community. The VIP DRP kickoff meeting for the Dura property, chairperson or Ms. Van Dyke and I met with them. It's very, very exciting. We are currently in phase 1 and gathered a lot of information, which is called the desktop due diligence. It has a comprehensive assessment of the property, including verified utility information and an in-depth site condition analysis. It's a great opportunity for that Dura property, and I'm excited to see what happens with that. Regarding the National Land Bank Summit, that's going to be in Detroit this year. As I stated previously, we submitted a poster proposal and we have been granted and asked to speak about that. The summit will be September 8th and 9th in Detroit. The last thing in here is connecting with community. With speaking at the Detroit Regional Land Bank, and the context that we have is the signs that we have generate so much activity and so many phone calls to sit down and talk with people on how we can create our visions and connect with people, which actually was talked about is that Lenawee County does connect with community, and the efforts that we've done in the last couple of years are being noticed in all different areas in order to do that. So just hoping, because we keep selling properties and connecting properties, and hopefully we have a couple other opportunities coming up with the larger properties, that we just get more inventory that we can continue to grow that in the community. So I just wanted to share and give you the information that I have and the efforts that we do behind the scenes. And it's very exciting that we will be recognized at the National Land Bank, and the summit for the Michigan Land Bank is going to be in October. Does anybody have any questions?
Then
You had mentioned, excuse me, a little bit ago, just in a casual conversation we have, and you just referenced some things coming up. Is there anything on the horizon for Jefferson School? Are you at liberty to share anything about that?
I don't think yet.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of different conversations happening in different pockets. Working with different entities, waiting for people to have phone calls back. As you know, in a lot of different areas, people are willing to help and connect, and it takes a long process.
Mhm.
And so with that, reaching out to other people to see if we can connect that and make it happen. So there's a potential for 3 different things for that property.
For that property, okay. I know that you saw potential,
Yes,
so,
and I
okay,
still see potential.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, that and the Red Door, we're trying to
Okay.
work with different projects on all of those
okay,
to see which one is going to be sustainable and connect with funders.
Yeah, super. And I'm leaving here and going to Housing Lenawee. And so I wondered if any conversations have continued and getting Jim Tischler here. I know you were kind of working with him and hoping to have him come, and I don't know what that forum would be. Anything going on there with having him come?
For
I don't know, a meeting?
We've met with Jim Tischler. Actually, I've met with Jim Tischler several times. And Ms. Van Dyke and I have met with Jim Tischler as well to see how we can support that. And he's given some ideas. I also, we have a meeting coming up for another project with someone from the State Land Bank that's not Jim Tischler. But if there's something specific, but
No.
regular contact we've had with him and had a lengthy conversation about the potential and what to do.
I guess I was thinking, and I might be wrong, that there was going to be, I'm thrilled you're meeting with him. That's fantastic. But I was thinking there was going to be some kind of more of, I don't know, a community opportunity with him or something, and maybe that was not the intent.
I don't think we've ever spoken
Okay.
about that. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it was just one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
With everything we're seeing in the news right now, state land bank funding opportunities, what's that looking like coming down the road? Great question.
Great question. Yeah, there's actually a lot of conversation that happened for funding in every pocket, including questions about BEAD grants, broadband, MISTA monies, because regardless of these monies being state monies, they all trickle down from the federal. So it's an unknown to everyone. I think as the funding is there, they're proceeding as is. But the potential of not being there could be, it's a real unknown. And I think it's unknown in every aspect of organizations you speak with.
First of all, thank you for representing Lenawee County so well and all these different entities. It's evident that you're connecting us with the greater, area and the state. So thank you. I was curious to learn more about your vision when you were talking about connections to build for the land bank properties, any specific properties, and how they can benefit the opioid issue that you referenced.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about one thing and then I'll come back to that. So one of the things that was talked about at the Detroit Regional Land Bank was bringing up an interest of sustainability for all communities. Ironically, I sat with a table on Monday night at the Office of Rural Prosperity. The speaker on Tuesday who talked about sustainability at Northern, who's right at Marquette where it's going to be, right? So listening to sitting and having conversations in the education realm to educate other counties of what's going on, you always hear of what they're doing, right? And so one of the conversations was utilized at the Detroit Land Bank about Ingham County has partnered with Nation Outside, which is an organization that helps people who are formerly incarcerated to re-enter back into the community. So the land bank has contributed a house of the land bank property and has the local unions come in and teach people a trade. And so bringing all the communities together, how we can do that. And so sparking that conversation and coming off and hearing how we're all connecting with community and working together is sitting down with organizations and listening to their vision of the first question I said is, where's your location and where's your property? Okay, well, here's what we're looking at. And my next comment is, have you ever heard of the land bank? Here's what we have to offer. And to be able to sit with somebody and say, this is the picture, right? Because I'm not really good in measurement, but when you look at something to see how it's measured and to be able to do that and how you could potentially come in and utilize that. So to give them options and opportunities of how that could work, either to purchase the property or to come and connect with community. And that is what the opioid settlements is really, that just came up with the conversation last week with someone and yesterday again. And they got all the addresses to drive by and see what the potential could be there, depending upon if they wanted to support commercial housing in order to do that. So in the other partnerships is getting somebody to sit down at the table for the funding part of it to see how we can collaborate and communicate. And that would be off of the opioid settlements.
Mhm.
Does that answer?
Sure, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, move on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.